2 laps of the day. He is really beginning to close in. Tommy Archer up through the S's, working on the back of Randy Popes. Meanwhile, let's see if we can find out what happened to Brandon Davis.
Well, his day is over. Brandon, what happened to the race car?
We don't know. It's something with the motor. I mean, it's really unfortunate. We're running for the championship today, and I think we had a third-place car. I don't think we could have caught up to Randy or Tommy, but, I mean, we had gotten by Andy, and I think we were in a good position. Hopefully, if they would have had a problem, we would have capitalized, but now we're out, and this hurts a lot. So we'll see what we can do next weekend at Mid-Ohio.
All right, Nate, best of luck there.
Thank you.
You may wish he stayed for those graduation parties now. Meanwhile, you go back up front. Randy Popes continuing to lead. He's been down in that time, Randy Popes has been down in that 157, low 157 range on lap times. And Tommy Archer, Dorsey, like I said, in the last 2 laps has clicked off 2 laps down in the 156 range.
Yeah, he's the fastest car on the track right now, Archer is. And what I think you might be saying is that he has burnt off some fuel now. He's almost half distance in the race, and he's starting to up the pace. He's going to push Randy a little bit harder now.
Watch Randy's hands on the wheel. I'm not sure that he has a happy race car underneath him.
Well, it's a little loose. You watch the kickback sometimes. We've been watching that. When he gets in the corner, the back of the car starts to slide. Usually about right here, he's got a counter steer. Not bad that time. He's trying hard, though, when you see all that going on. And you see the numbers on the board, 56.90.
This is the fast left-hander, and then right after this, the fast right-hander onto the front straightaway. That's where the huge crash in the touring car race was earlier today.
Yeah, right there.
Right there. That exit right out to the wall. Randy Popes holding on right now, Calvin.
Well, Randy Pope said he needed one thing here today, and that was to get a good clean start and lead into the inner loop. He got that job done, and then he was concerned about Tommy Archer in that Viper. He said, yes, they have a 25% air restrictor. He said, but that will hurt their top end, but not off the corners. He said, I've been around those Vipers this weekend. They are still very strong off the bottom of the corner there. And his engineer, of course, Will Moody, he's run Vipers for a long time. He said, don't underestimate Archer. Look how many Vipers are at the front of the pack in Salt Lake City. Expect Archer to be a threat all day long.
Well, that's that Dodge V10. It's a huge V10, 7+ liters, and it puts out monstrous torque, and that certainly helps coming off corners, restrictor or not. The restrictor pulls back the horsepower for sure, but it's still a very potent block.
Watched him, you talk about top speed and not being there, perhaps the acceleration is better. I watched him close in on that Porsche at the end of the straightaway, and really where he suffered seemed to be coming out of the inner loop there.
Yeah, you know, the handling advantage probably is going to go to the Porsche, certainly braking over the long distance. What Tommy has to watch out is he's not running too hard too soon. We're just now at halfway distance-wise on this race.
10 laps in the book, working lap 11 right now. Popes out of what we call the toe of the boot. Up the uphill, a little slight downhill run here into a right-hander.
Well, Tommy's right there, no doubt about it. He's looking for an opportunity, looking for a place where he's stronger than the Porsche.
I think the reason why drivers like this racetrack so much, Dorsey, is there are many places to get the job done.
Yeah, there's passing opportunities all around here. I mean, not to say that it's easy, but you got a lot of racing space at this place.
Long circuit here at Watkins Glen, 3.5 miles, is such a great racetrack. 2 very fast corners here, the left and then the right onto the front straightaway. But a good braking zone into one, there into the inner loop, down into the toe of the boot, that right-hander that we call the heel of the boot. A lot of places to pass here.
But this racetrack is really very hard on left tires, left side tires, usually the left rear, and I'll tell you why. You turn into turn 1 right here, you turn to the right, it's a little bit of a bank corner, you really load that left-hand side, then you're going to climb the hill. And that's another real hard right-hand corner. All the corners around here that you're really laying into, like the old turn 5 are right-handers, and that left side really gets hot.
I am impressed with Tommy Archer. You saw him close on the brakes there. The Porsche always known for such good brakes. Tommy Archer really closed it in there. As we head down the back straightaway, you'll see what kind of a draft he can get off of Randy Popes. Closes the distance, closer still, but not close enough. So Tommy Archer hounding Randy Popes to see if he can break the string of victories that Randy Popes has here. Hi to the Boy Scouts as well. SpeedGT Championship from Watkins Glen. Speed's coverage of the SpeedGT Championship is brought to you by Mazda. On any given weekend, there are more Mazdas road race than any other brand. By Toyo Tires, driven to perform. And by Royal Purple. Visit royalpurple.com to find a dealer near you. Eric Curran all over the back of Mike McCann in that Cadillac CTS-V. And I thought he was going to get him there at McCann to block a little bit. And Curran really working over the back of that caddy.
They're fighting over 5th place right there. And right in front of them, you see Michelotti 4th, not that far in front.
Calvin, what do you have on Eric Curran?
Well, he's certainly glad that he's gone a little bit further in this race than all of the other 3 this year, but he said they've been struggling with the race car this weekend. They've been trying a different shock package. He said about a couple of spins already in practice and qualifying, so he said something's amiss. When he gets on the brakes, the rear of the car gets really loose. So that may make it hard for him to put the pressure on McCann here today.
And you know what, Calvin, that's a bad situation going into turn 1 here because it's a downhill braking zone. If the back's getting loose, that means on the downhill braking zone, it biases the front of the car down a lot harder. The back gets up in the air and wants to start dancing around. I wonder if he's done those spins in turn 1.
Randy Popes trying to hold off Tommy Archer, and every lap Archer is right there. The last 3 laps that he's run, there are sub 1 minute and 57-second laps, but that inner loop there seems to really be his nemesis. It gets the best of him every time.
Well, the Porsche is a much lighter car, more nimble car, and that's the hardest turning in there. You know, you're coming off of the straightaway, you're turning right, left, right, and it really, really loads the car up. So the big heavy car really suffers through that area.
Archer seems to be very good out of turn 1, closes the gap down the straightaway, but then that inner loop seems to be the problem. And over the last several laps, Dorsey, he closes in here. Look how much earlier he releases the car there in the toe.
And that's because of the power, Brian, and the fact that the Porsche's got the rear engine in it. It can put grip down. What Tommy's doing, straighten the car up, letting it track out so he can get some of that V10 power to the ground and not just spin up the tires.
Randy Popes, not balking at all, hasn't made a mistake, even with Tommy Archer so close in his rearview mirror. And Archer, once again, has been able to close that distance that he lost, but still, that inner loop, if he could just make it go away. Dino Crescentini now on pit road, had a spin on the racetrack, and understand he made some contact, Calvin?
Yes, he has. The crew looking underneath the left rear corner. The body damage doesn't look that bad, Brian, so I have to assume he may have tagged some suspension and he's not feeling that the car is right. Had that drive-through penalty earlier, so not a good day for Dino.
Now we'll see what's going on with old Dino here. This is, that was the corner I've been talking about. That's the turn 6, laces of the booth. He lost it early. That's what we saw happening throughout the weekend, and backs it into the wall there.
That's a pretty good smack, and even though it doesn't look like much, that left side around this racetrack really is so critical. Look at this, the battle for 5th. Eric Curran, even though he doesn't like the handling on that Corvette right now, has just put it to Mike McCann. He had been all over McCann for the last couple of laps. Got it done there in turn 1 where, as you said, Dorsey, probably the trickiest braking zone on the racetrack, especially if you've got a car that's not too happy in the brake zone. We'll see if Mike McCann can work his way back up.
I don't think so. I think Eric Curran is the faster of the 2 cars. It was taking him a long time to get by Mike, but now that he's cleared him, I think Eric will now set sail.
Talked to Mike McCann last week. He was testing at Mid-Ohio, and he said, you know, it's just taken me a while to get used to this Cadillac. It's got a lot more movement in it than the Viper I used to drive. We had that car sprung very stiff. It was like a formula car, but this car floats, it moves, and you've got to anticipate the weight transferring through the car much more so than the Viper. It's just taken me a little while to get a handle on it.
A lot of technology in that Team Cadillac. Of course, that was the factory car. You said it before. A full factory ride from Cadillac. Mike McCann bought the entire thing, lock, stock, and barrel, all of the transporters, everything. And it is a very well developed car. And ooh, little smoke here. What is that off of?
Little problem there.
One of the Porsches with a spin. That's coming off the left-hander, turn 10. And they're going to be coming right at him with the lead cars, I think.
Ambosura getting it turned back around, and here come your leaders. Stay over there, stay over there, stay over there. Randy Popes, Tommy Archer right now are going to catch him right at the apex.
Good. Everybody did well.
You just don't want to see that, especially as a leader. Tommy Archer still hanging on to the back of Randy Popes in that K-Pax Porsche. Nothing has changed here. The heat still turned up at Watkins Glen, round 4 of the SpeedGT Championship. Monday, comedian Alonzo Bowden takes you on an automotive adventure. Don't miss out on the experience and the fun of getting behind the wheel of 101 cars you must drive. Network series premiere Monday exclusively on Speed. On board the Black Dog Racing Corvette of Tony Gaples through the toe of the boot, the uphill climb, and then back up front with Randy Popes. and Tommy Archer.
I think now that Randy pokes his mirror driving Archer a little